Hello, gang. How we doing? Welcome in. Fallen Romantic, how are you? You were just talking about playing Trash Goblin today after work. There we go. Look at that. Ooh, how are you feeling about packing? And showing? So you're selling? Hello, hello, hello. We streaming indeed. How we doing, gang? How are we doing? Ooh. Full of romantic, what's up? You hate packing? Yeah, we're selling our house. How are you feeling about it? To help out since again. Oh, that's totally understandable. That's totally understandable. Unfit Films, how you doing as well? Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Living the dream? That's what's up. How are we doing today? Oof. Unfit Films, thank you for the follow, by the way. Very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So, Stray, how are you? Welcome in. Good to see you. Hey, hey, hey. Cold today? How are you? Exhausted. Exhausted. There's a lot going on. But that's a story for another day. We got some cool stuff to show you guys. Okay. So we have our narrative designer, Philippa War, aka Pip, with us in the building today. We're going to chat, we're going to yap, we're going to play through the demo and have a good time. So if you have any questions about the characters, about the writing, then then please feel free to ask. We had our first showing Monday and they said they didn't like it because of the way the kitchen is painted. Like, you could just repaint. Yeah. That's the exact same thing I'm reading. Yeah, you could repaint anyway. If we had it beige, so why does it? Yeah, it's not really a big deal, right? But welcome Pip in, guys. Okay. Let me make sure that you can hear Pip all right. So, Pip, are you with us? Can you hear me?
I am with you.
Yes.
I feel like this is like a Ouija board. Yes, I can hear you. Knock, knock.
Ta-da! And we're here. Look at that.
Hello.
Good to have you, Pip. Thank you.
Oh, it's nice to be here.
Hell yeah. Love the energy.
I'm always
Yay!
glad to chat with you. You know I am.
Say that again, sorry?
I'm always glad to chat with you. You know
Ah, vice versa as well. I love Pip, guys. Pip's awesome. All right. So, let's start the game. Do you have anything that you would like to say to the people in the chat before we start off?
Let me think. I mean, I'm just delighted that people are here. So obviously feel free to ask questions and give your thoughts, I guess. And also just, yeah, if you've come up with any interpretations or faves on the characters, like, I'm really interested. I'm interested in what you think as well, Kieran. You have to tell me. Yeah.
I mean, you've seen me laughing at Nomiya, so we'll go through it. We'll go through it and we'll talk about it as we play. But can you guys hear Pip okay? So I'm seeing Fallen Romantic said you can barely hear Pip. But is this any better? Are we good? Are we okay? I think if I do this, turn you up in Discord, are we better?
Let me I'll say a few things. People can acclimatize. We can get the vibe going.
Yeah, there we go. Let's chat just to make sure we're all good. Better? Perfect. I was telling you up in Discord and it was as simple as that. Amazing. Great.
Get me on that 125%, Kieran.
200.
Wow. I have never been accused of being too quiet.
We need to hear all of your voice. We need to hear exactly what you say. Like, you know.
Oh, wow.
To make sure.
Held accountable later. This is no good. Like, put me back down. Put me back down.
Andrew, welcome in. How are you doing? What's up? Lusafa, welcome in. Bright Spark, I see you as well. What's happening, guys? That's good. We're all good now. Turn me down. All right. Sorry. Hold on. Cool. All right. Now that you've had your fun, it's time for us to have some fun and play the game. Okay. So we're diving in. New game. But...
New game. Who is this? Sorry.
Don't apologize, because that's the type of stuff I would say.
You know, just when like it sparks the association and the words are out of your mouth before you're like, no.
We have the same brain. Mode. We have the same brain, I think, to be honest. I totally get it. Yeah, it's a struggle.
Online to function properly.
Yeah. So, new game. New version of the demo. Interesting. You guys are going to get some cool new things. We got 5 new named characters in this, I believe. And, you know, a ton of new stuff. So as we go through, we'll see. Are you ready? So, I have a question straight off the bat. Because I mentioned this when I played. I don't know why, but it was giving, like, strong vibes of... you know when you start up a Pokemon game? Or even, like, Pokemon Red and Blue, and Professor Oak is, like... He's like, are you a boy or a girl? Etc., etc. Like...
Right.
The opening vibes... Yeah, it kind of felt like that in the way they're like, it got me like engaged from the jump, you know, like it's asking me like a direct question.
Yeah.
And I was curious about like what, like when you're starting up something like this, like what are the processes of writing and like what do you think about?
Ooh. So I think a lot will depend on the mood that you want to set. So with this, it's very much like the character would know that they are about to get this sort of custody of this shop. That's not going to be like a surprise to the character themselves, but the player doesn't know anything. So it's about so in this instance, it's like you want to make it feel like cozy. You want to make sure that they know that Eamon is like on their side, or is like someone that they are close with, or that they have an existing relationship with. You also want to make sure that you are teaching them things, but without it feeling like you are doing it too heavy-handedly, or so that the player and the character aren't at odds. Because if you're saying, hello, I am Eamon, it's like, yeah, they should know that already.
Yeah. You can't like give exposition that the character in the game knows. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. So, and this just felt like a kind of, are you ready? Like, ready for what? Don't know. Let's jump in, you know?
I like it. All right. which path should I take?
Ooh.
As I'll ever be? I'll never know if I don't try.
I think so. Well, not I think. I know. You'd hope I'd know. Um, so some bits of dialogue that have choices are to do with getting a slightly different response or following a slightly different path with the NPC, the
Yeah.
non-player character that you are interacting with. Sometimes it's more about the roleplay side of things. So in this instance, it's more about sort of, is the player feeling, like chomping at the bit, like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm ready, like, gimme, or are they feeling a bit like,
Oh,
I guess?
maybe. Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
I think it's like kind of similar to, yeah, again, like the question, you're kind of like allowing us to put ourselves in the foot in the shoes. Does our goblin wear shoes? In the boots?
Oh, good point. Maybe need to investigate that in the lore, you know.
Yeah. In the so you're
I mean,
allowing us
they're
to
not
be
a
in like the
cobbler.
goblin boots, right?
Yeah.
The goblin boots
In the
of the goblin.
Goblin Crocs.
The shoes with holes. That sounds like Crocs actually, so that's pretty accurate.
That, oh wow. Yeah. Ventilated shoes, shall
Yeah.
we say.
Ventilation, there you go. The shoes of AC. Then welcome to your very own trinket shop. Look around and see what old Eamon set up for you. So,
Mhm.
Eamon's personality and character is something that we can get into. But,
Yeah.
yeah. Alright, so select the exclamation point to start looking around the space. So as you guys have seen before, we can go through all of this, but yeah, feel free
Mhm.
to chat a bit more about like Eamon in general as a character.
Yeah.
The relationship, with Nomiya, so to speak,
Who?
and just kind of like, yeah, no, there's a customer that kind of looks a little familiar to Eamon in ways.
Right? It's as if
I don't know
they've
why
maybe
they're.
got a twin or
Yeah, they
some
could be
kind of
related
thing.
cousins. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Maybe it's just one of those doppelganger situations. You don't
Right,
know.
those do
Um,
exist.
so yeah, the thing with Eamon, the biggest thing that I wanted to make the player feel was that they are kind of like a parental figure, like a guardian type character. They care about the player's well-being, the goblin's well-being. They
Right.
also sort of took them in to a certain extent and sort of look out for them, but it's not entirely a kind of protective, like cuddly relationship. It's like, they have
Mm,
given you to become independent. So it's more that sort of, I guess, kind of like a slightly on the fringes person with a heart of gold, sort of taking
right.
you in, trying to set you up in some way because they're really fond of you and they care about you, but like they're not like entirely omnipresent and gonna protect you
Right.
from
They're not
anything.
like coddling you, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like a fondness and a warmth without necessarily being overly tender or that kind of flavor, hopefully, is what it
Gotcha.
hopefully it lands as. So, and again, you can tell me if it sort of feels different to you, because characters also become different things when they go out into the world, right?
Right,
Like,
yeah, that's true. The way that people interpret them. Yeah.
yeah, you write it based on your own experiences or people that you've met or things that you're hoping to convey.
Mhm.
And then it intersects with somebody else's brain and their life experiences. And they're like,
Right.
actually, this really reminds me of someone else. Or,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm reading it differently because I've had very different life experiences." And so that it's really interesting to me to then see other people's reactions and stuff, or to
Right.
hear how it lands, even if it's just a tiny bit differently, right?
Yeah. Because I find it interesting. We're gonna come up to it soon.
Mm.
As we're discussing with Eamon. I like him. He seems like quite a passionate guy. I feel like as I'm reading through the text, you can see that he's kind of supportive of what we want to do, right? But
Mm.
also the scene that's coming up, well, I say that, but Nomi is clearly a different person, so I don't know why I
Yeah,
would even suggest what I'm talking
I
about.
know. I mean, I
Um,
feel like this question just makes no sense, Kieran. So
I might as well just not ask. Like, But no, like I find it, assuming that
Mm,
Eamon may actually be Nomiya, I do find it very like heartwarming and sweet that they would
mm,
be the type of person to actually, like do
yeah,
what we're about to see and guide them. Even like giving
yeah,
us this sponge, like it's like small steps and pushing us out into the world like slowly. And
yeah,
although it's not necessarily like we're being like coddled by them, it's like, I hope you take your first steps, sir, is what it feels like. It's like kind of
yeah,
like a nice like mentor
yeah,
relationship, I think.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just sort of hopefully just, yeah, that gentle, or not even necessarily gentle, but that kind of, they have a rock solid belief that you are ready for this.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I'm hoping that that reassurance is something that comes through. Yeah.
Mm, for sure. And that it makes me curious as well. So I have a couple questions. One's on the
Mhm.
tutorial side, but the other one is based on what we had just discussed with Eamon. Is there anyone in particular that Eamon reminds you of in your life or in stories that you feel like helped
Ooh,
inspire the writing for the character at all?
that's interesting.
Even if it's
Um,
like, even if you didn't consciously think about it, but you think back and think, oh, maybe, you know?
so I don't think so, but so there's no one that consciously it was based on, partly because I feel like that's always a very odd experience of like, I would never want to recreate someone in a game unless it was a game about
Right.
that
That
exact
makes
person.
sense.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
So it's far more to do with the feelings that someone is intending to convey, or if you're coming at it from, a lot of stuff is essentially, you have the arc of the game, and there are going to be characters that help fulfill particular functions and like help round out experiences. Like you might need an antagonist, but what are they actually wanting so that it feels like it's really grounded in the world, and
right.
all of those things. And so
Yeah.
that also helps with making it not be a particular person because they exist
They have
in
their own
this.
will, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's so weird because I always sort of really side-eyed people talking about characters as if they were real people. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, whatever.
They
And now
kind
I'm
of
like,
are.
they wouldn't do that actually.
Yeah, it's like they take on a life of their own, even if you don't intend. Like, do you find that when you're writing, actually, that the characters, even though you may have had an idea for someone initially, as you're continuing to write, kind of like the will of the character takes over, and you're like you said, like, oh, they wouldn't do this, or they like,
They do settle into different forms. So over the course of writing a character, you'll start off thinking, okay, well, this person can be I don't know, the repository for this type of thing. Or in
right,
this game, it would be a case of, oh, it makes sense that they would ask for this kind of item. And then so you've sort of got that in the back of your mind. And then about 3 hours later, you've written a bunch of side quests, and then you're kind of like, they wouldn't want that.
that,
They think that was naff.
yeah. Oh
And then you're
no,
like, oh, now I need to find someone else who wants that item.
right. Let's make a whole new character for that.
I mean, this is how feature creep happens. Or character creep. They're
Yeah.
all like sneaking in around the edges, going, hi, I'd like that.
Right. As someone who's obsessed with One Piece as a story, I've heard that's how this story that was supposed to be 5 years has lasted over like near 30 now. So so that's interesting to hear. But also,
Mm,
one other thing is we just did the sponge segment right now,
mhm.
and while we're here,
Yeah.
I thought I'd also bring up something I found quite
Mm.
interesting. What was the reason for bringing the sponge section forward and doing that before the like unearthing trinkets, out of curiosity?
So I mean, I think it would be hard for me to remember the exact order of
Yeah.
things because obviously a lot of stuff happens in conversation and in sort of dialogue with other departments. So
Right.
Steve on design, obviously Smithy, and other people just sort of being like, oh, well, this is like a priority here, or this is a priority here, and just sort of, yeah, again, just that back and forth. I think if, I mean, going entirely on dialogue, it feels natural for the first thing you do in this space. I mean, we didn't even used to look around, and I'm like, if
Hmm.
if you are being shown this space, the first thing you're gonna do is be like,
Check it out.
where am I? Like,
Yeah.
what are all these different bits? I wanna do the 360 tour, you know? And
Yeah.
so that's why that suddenly appears.
That
And
makes it feel
then
more real.
yeah, it felt like the first thing I would do, if you see what I mean.
I totally get that.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, and so then the sponge stuff is like it's something that so if Eamon has cleaned out this space for you, then it makes sense that you would have like there would be some dirty stuff that they have uncovered and that might be a useful thing for you to be fiddling with, and it's like
Right.
it's natural that it would be there. And then also just the fact that it also gives them a thing that they can give you that is sort of somehow more domestic and more, you know, like warm than
Right.
a chisel.
Yeah.
It feels like here's a chisel where you can really do yourself some damage versus here's a lovely sponge from my sink, you know?
I totally get that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. There's a lot that goes into. Sorry, I'm just noticing also
Mm.
in the background right now.
Yeah,
We're seeing a
yeah.
little bit of movement going on. Who are these guys? What's going on?
Yeah, little crowd
Interesting.
scenes, right? So
Yeah.
that's an addition. Like you're seeing a load of stuff that is hot off the game dev. I was going to say
I was
presses,
thinking
but
the
you
same thing. Yeah.
know,
I couldn't think of anything else but hot off the presses, so I feel that.
hot out of the oven. You know,
There you
it's
go.
cooling on the windowsill right now. We're just taking a sneak
Literally as
bite.
well.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is so cool. This is such a nice, like, little. Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just staring at it
And
now. Sorry, I'm so distracted by, like,
no, there are some really intriguing outlines, aren't there, as well? Like
yeah.
some great
Like, who's
silhouettes. Like who
this?
exactly who is going to come to your window at some point, perhaps?
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting shapes going on that I don't know if we've seen at the desk yet. This is beautiful. I agree. It's really nice.
Yeah, yeah, and just the lighting and stuff as well. It's just really sort of
Little fellas, what's up, dude? Welcome in. How are you?
the vibes are so good.
Yeah. I feel like this kind of all rolls in. It's very interesting, obviously, speaking to all of you and like discussing it on stream for everyone to hear. But I feel like seeing like the things that everyone's individually done to work up kind of like the perfect cozy atmosphere for this is awesome. Like you have like the art team, as you can see in the chat, like with these like amazing little silhouettes and the characters walking in the back. Like the art has also always been like amazing and cozy, right? Then people have always said that. The audio design that Ben discussed last stream, and then obviously as we're discussing the narrative and the things that make this feel more homely, it's like
Yeah.
super interesting to see how it all ties in this one package that we're looking at the moment. So yeah, it's really cool. It's awesome.
Aw, that's so nice to hear. Yeah.
Great. But yeah, if anyone in the chat has questions as well, again, I will yap if you do not, because I have a lot of questions. But if you do want to ask Pip some questions, please feel free to in the chat. We'll read them out, and as we're going along with this, yeah, like who is this? Who is Nomia exactly, huh? What's going on there?
So, I mean, I can let you in on a tiny little secret here
Okay.
if you'd like. There is a certain there's just a theory that perhaps Eamon is trying to teach you about these processes in a safe way. And so rather than bring in the terrifying general public, they might be rapidly running upstairs, whacking on a fake flash, and popping by the window. But that's just a theory. And
A game
to be
theory.
honest, exactly. And I would just say that this looks like a totally different person. So I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. It's kind of a mystery to me.
Was
But,
it?
you know, there's always theories, right? Like that's what Reddit's for.
Exactly. There you go. But no, that can't be it. There we go. Confirmed. It's a theory at the end of the day. Like you said, it's just a theory.
Yeah.
The general public is terrifying, confirmed, even in Trash Goblin. I'm sorry.
I used to work on a customer service desk, and it's like you never knew what someone was going to say.
True.
You're just like, I don't know what to do with this information.
Yeah.
sometimes.
I still wake up in cold sweats of a guy asking me if I was in the boy band JLT when I worked part time at college. And I was like, what is he talking about? And someone said he probably meant JLS. And I was like, that makes
I
sense.
was gonna say, like,
But, but
that's
what?
not even.
But what? Why would I be working here? No.
I know. Also, like, I think JLS,
It was like
like,
at Argos. Good times.
they were like color coded as well. So were you wearing a particular, like, because they were like red, yellow, green,
I
and
was
blue?
wearing Argos red, so that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Well, there you go.
But also, I have a question that I really wanted to ask last week, right?
Hmm.
Why does the Goblin have a fake tash?
I just feel like, doesn't everybody?
I can't argue with that.
Like,
I can't
I
argue
don't know
with
what
that
to tell you, Kieran.
one. I thought it was super interesting because I was like, what is the Goblin using the fake mustache for? I mean, I know we were promoting 3 Goblin Woblin when we did Goblin Fest, right? I don't know if he's also trying to sneak into the local tavern and like, what's the deal there?
I mean, I feel like the Goblin would have been to some like fancy dress parties, right? Like,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
you've got to have a fake tash.
Speaking of, Halloween is coming up. What costume do you all think that our Goblin would wear for Halloween? What kind of thing would he wear? There we go. Got some cash going on. I do love this receipt as well. That's so awesome.
It's
That's been
so
added.
good, isn't it? Yeah. Like, Kat and Donnie and Fee, I think, have done like a really good job with that, like making it feel just like bespoke and
Smashed it.
very sort of absolutely smashed it.
Maybe he'd dress up as a human.
Ooh.
Maybe. I don't know how I feel about that and what that would look like. But interesting nonetheless.
I mean, the Goblin could dress up as Eamon dressing up as Nomia, if we're going with that theory. It's
You might be onto something. Yeah. Was that a customer? I hope they paid you well. Actually, they look kind of familiar. I like this little bit of banter between them.
I'm glad.
I mean, how so? Oh, you don't have a twin, do you? I think that's quite enough chat about the cool, handsome shirt. That sounds like I would say.
I mean, it's something I would say. Every now and again, like, I do catch myself just being like, oh, that was just a thing that
was
said.
me.
Yeah. And like the worst thing is when friends catch you out as well.
Yeah.
They're like, hang on, that's just a you thing. And you're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I just think it's funny. I think I'm hilarious. So
the thing is, if you find yourself so funny, how could you not inject so much of yourself into it, right? You gotta put a little bit of your own personality in there.
I mean, like, one day, Kieran, the world will find me as hilarious as I find myself. Until then,
that's all our individual goals. I feel
walk that line, right?
I'm on that journey myself. I feel you. If Eamon and Nomia aren't the same person, how do we know that? That me and you, Pip, aren't the same person too?
Well, exactly. You do have a tash on.
What if I just removed it right now?
Imagine.
That'll be an incredible long-running joke. I've just been wearing a fake mustache for years, and you all didn't know, and it was all for this moment.
You take your tash off, I'll take my glasses off. It's like, it's the same picture.
Right. All right, so another question regarding tools and just these interactions, actually. Again, I find it interesting because obviously when you do dialogue options like this in games, you're kind of almost giving the character, like, although we're living through the character, you're kind of giving the character one personality or another. Like when you're kind of like writing that kind of thing, like what kind of things do you need to be careful about as far as like allowing us to like feel free in the decisions, but also like keeping true to like the character of the Goblin in a way?
So I think the goblin does have a fixed identity
Hmm.
to some degree,
Yeah.
but I think it's more so in that moment, for example, it's more about whether they are sort of feeling comfy or not, kind of in the same way that you could have a mood where you're like, yeah, I've got this, and like
Yeah.
on a different day just be feeling a bit more like, okay, I think I can,
Mm.
I think I've got this. And so yeah, it's more about trying to introduce that as the gradation rather than, oh, are you a jerk or a nice person, like having,
Right.
like, 'cause
Yeah.
those are so far apart that you can't really, I mean, okay, so in some instances you can, but like it would be hard to reconcile them in the
Yeah.
same character, whereas this is more about like, do you want to just take the thing, or do you want to have a little bit more, like one is just an excuse for a little bit more banter, like if you
Right.
say, I think I can handle a chisel or whatever it is. And then, Eamon passes it over to you and they're like, you handle it the other way
Good
up,
job,
genius,
mate.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That
it's like,
that did get a laugh out of me when I don't know if you saw last week
I
when I
did.
played
I was
that. But
fascinated. I was
yeah.
like, oh, who would go after Ben, right? Like, so many good anecdotes. And I'm like, I didn't rattle any bags of dog food when I was doing this. Like, what do I have to bring to the table?
No, I feel like you're teaching us a lot off this conversation, and I'm just having fun chatting as well, so
Yeah.
hell yeah. There we go.
Nice.
So we got a
Do you
nice
love
little
that bottle?
bottle. So one thing I
Yeah.
wanted to ask as well, but again, I have so many questions that like it's so hard to not bombard you like one after the other without progressing through the game. But as we're still kind of like in the tutorial section,
Yeah.
for you, what do you think goes into writing like a good tutorial for a game like this? Like what were kind of like the step? Because I imagine obviously like it's gone for a change since, you know,
Mm,
the ages ago that we'd streamed this, and we did discuss this when we streamed that with Ant. But yeah, super
mm.
curious how like those changes, if that's something you remember of like the period of time you've been doing this, kind of like evolved. Because I appreciate that obviously a lot of the questions I asked you've been doing a lot, and it's been over like a long period of time, so it may be hard to like recall. But even just generally, like, I'm super
Yeah.
curious.
So I think that the thing about tutorials is you can handle information a lot of different ways. Sometimes you can get away with just giving the player the objects in their inventory and essentially doing a lot of just letting them explore and figure it out, and having just one or two tooltips or having stuff that is available on request. This felt more like the cozy vibe and the feeling confident in your space, and the,
Right.
iterating on things and making sure that you have those patterns down, and also just the fact that, like, in the best way, repetition is part of like this type of cozy game, right? It's like you
Yeah.
go through
Get
those
into your
rhythms
patterns
and
and
you
your
wanna, yeah, so like teaching that also has a really nice association with what you will be doing elsewhere in the game. So yeah, so, and there's also a certain amount of just, it helps to break stuff down a bit and take someone through it step by step.
right.
It's difficult in some ways because everybody is a bit different in terms of what they pick up or what they want to skip, or you know
Hmm.
and like, there will be people who are just like, yes, 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 let me get to the
Skip, skip,
action,
skip,
click,
skip.
click, click,
Yeah,
click.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And like sometimes I'm one of those people, sometimes I'm like, I've read nothing, I'm so sorry. But
I
yeah,
feel
and my
that.
excuse is always, "No, I'm a writer, not a reader." So
Put that on a shirt. Put it on a shirt. That's
business card.
awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. I like
Anyway,
that.
but yeah, so there's a certain amount of that. There's actually so there's an interesting point, or interesting to me in terms of the experience of it,
Hmm.
a bit later on in the tutorial. So do you remember so the version last week? So you've
Hmm.
got Sokar, so this girl with bird on their arm,
Yes.
and the the bird drops the upcycler, and you
Yeah, I thought that was
essentially
cool.
just have that. So that should, fingers crossed, be different in this one for
Ah.
reasons when we get to it. But it was that weird thing of I kind of really enjoyed just saying, yeah, the bird dropped a thing. Now you have to deal with it. Like in some ways,
Right.
to me, that was like a nice contrast or a nice weird like curveball compared with the rest of the tutorial being quite sort of okay, and then and
And then
then
it's like, whoa, what's this thing? Yeah.
and then you're just like, yeah, here's a thing.
Yeah, I like it as well because it's just it's a different way of getting a tool as opposed to like Eamon giving you the tool, right? Like it's yeah,
I think
it's
yeah.
interesting. It's super interesting. You did answer
Well,
my
also,
question that I didn't even ask yet. You might actually be me because you're in my head. Like I was I was gonna ask like what things going forward should we look out for in the demo, and I'm
oh.
like, oh, that's cool.
Exactly. So yeah, shall we get through this day? But obviously, obviously if stuff comes up, do just say. But yeah,
Hmm.
so it should be on day 2 that
Cool.
different things start happening.
We're in there. We're here. Day 2. And also, Auntie
hmm
Val. Interesting. Nice
Isn't
little
it?
name drop there, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's almost as if there are other people in the goblin's life that might have
Yeah.
an influence on them and their sort of their little place in the world and that might care for them. So
Right. So I'm
yeah.
interested to see what happens with that whenever we may
Yeah.
get there. Oh, what a cute design. We need one pot
Yeah.
nice and clean. I do really love
Mm.
the customer system we got going on. You guys may have seen on TikTok or other socials actually that it's sorry, I'm so distracted by the background as well. That's so cool.
Yeah, and the time of day changing, like the
Yeah.
color
Yeah, it's
grading and
so
yeah.
sick. Do you know what it really reminds me of actually? There are some
No
really
god.
awesome transitions in Persona 5 specifically that show
Okay.
like NPCs shaded out like this. But this is obviously on
Yeah.
the screen for longer and you can appreciate and look at it more. I'm loving the backgrounds. I'm glad it's not just me. Thank you, Kairu.
Yeah. I haven't played Persona 5. I feel
It's
like
good.
Persona is a whole like time sink that I can't afford.
Valid.
Basically.
Valid.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's get this tool. She's so pretty, right? It's such a like that's I think that's like one of the cool things about like the customer system is just being able to see like so many different variations of like
Mm,
looks from the characters. I was actually talking about this earlier on with a completely different game about how like sometimes you get like NPC syndrome where you feel like you see the same face and the same character so much to the point that you stop paying attention to it. But I feel like this is
yeah.
very different in the way that sorry, I love that sound. Shout out Ben. I feel like
They're
that's very
so
different.
good, aren't they? Like just
Right.
all of the noises.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we could do one of those like tier rankings, Like what's your S tier?
Oh, we should absolutely do that. Like a tier
Yeah.
ranking of like a tier list of like
Yeah.
the block sounds.
Oh yeah.
I'm stealing Ben for a day to do tier lists. The whole squad,
Please.
everyone's hopping in. Actually, I lied. There's gonna be a spilt milk community effort. Oh
Yeah,
no, my
everyone.
bag.
Oh, did it fall off the side?
Yeah, I threw it off the table.
Oh, you're
I
so
wasn't sulking. I'm sorry.
cavalier with your trinkets. Like my
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
goodness. Yeah, you'll also notice there's some tweaks. Like the table is a lot smaller. That has freaked me out. Like
Mhm.
I am still not come to terms with the table being smaller at the moment. So
That
like
is
I
interesting,
need yeah.
actually. Do we? Do you know what? Maybe that's a question I'll save for next week. But I was super curious on why that might be.
Well, there are definite reasons. So yeah. And I think just also like for me, it's like I will fill any available space with clutter. like in real
Mm.
life as well as
I
in the
think we spoke
game.
about this, didn't we?
Yeah. And so when I was like playing this one of the previous builds, I definitely was absolutely guilty of just piling some. I was not using my stash. I'm like, yeah, like leave that pot there. That sponge can
I
just
feel
be thrown
that.
over there, you know, all of that stuff. So maybe this will also get me out of that habit, you know.
Right. uh Maybe we are the same person. Sometimes. Sometimes.
I feel
Alright, let's clean
like
this up.
the first time we met, like the first time we were in a meeting together, it was literally just like watching
Similar
two
energy.
little,
Yeah.
yeah, like just vibing.
Right,
Memes,
yeah.
talking
Yeah.
memes.
That part.
Yeah.
I'm sadly still waiting to play P5R, even though honestly I own it twice and I still haven't played it because I played through the original and then I was like, the start is too similar. I'll get there eventually. And
Mm.
yeah, there's been a lot of games since then, so maybe someday. Next year.
There's so many games.
These 80-hour long games.
I
Why
know,
do I do
right?
that? Why do I do
And
this?
then I pick up an endless one as well, and you're like, well, that was a mistake, wasn't it?
I have a general question for you that I feel like for me I
Oh
find
yeah.
quite interesting. And the chat might in general. And again, chat, if you do have any questions that you wanna pose, let us know. But what inspired you to write? Like what was it
Oh
that made you decide that writing was the thing for you? Like what got you there? Out of curiosity.
I think so. The main thing that I always come back to is that I really like sharing cool things with other people.
Hmm.
And so I used to do sort of more, well, I used to be a games journalist, and before that I was more of an entertainment journalist and
Hmm.
blogger and things like that before even that. And it always just hinged around like, so one of the things that I love doing is interviewing people, because it's essentially about like, what are you doing that you're excited about? Tell me what makes you
Yeah.
tick. And like any weird stuff that comes out of that, I would always find so interesting. And then it'd just be like, okay, well, I want everyone to know these weird cool things, so I'll just, you know, and then
It's
you'd
like a fun
put
story to
them
tell,
out.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Or like in terms of games journalism, it was like, I found this really weird, cool indie game, and I think everyone should play it or see it or know about
Mm-hmm.
it or like have something out of that experience. And so there's a lot involved in that. And a lot of, so the last job that I had before I went over onto the game development side was I was deputy editor at PC Gamer, and editing is kind of the main thing that I love, because it's essentially about getting other people's ideas out into the world and like helping
Right.
them express them the best way that they can. And I love that. And I think that games writing is a very similar thing for me, because often like none of these projects that I have worked on are things that I have dreamt up whole cloth. Like I come onto the project and I see what people are sort of like trying to get to and
I
the game that they want
see.
to make. And it's essentially just, for me, it's a different kind of editing. Like it's a very creative form of editing, but you're like, okay, I see what you want to do. Let's figure out how to express it the best that
Yeah.
you can, and how to use words, especially to fine tune that or to add nuance or to be part of that apparatus, right?
That makes so much sense. Yeah. I could see how those two things are similar. Although
Mm.
I never would have thought about it until you kind of like explained how it is. Like, yeah, I see that. That's so cool.
Yeah. Because it's that weird thing where like something that I can't remember if you and I've spoken about this before, but something that if you are a writer in some capacity, there is almost like this expectation that you are maybe also working on a novel, or that you have some
Hmm.
other kind of great creative magnum opus that you are also working on in your spare. And I've
Yeah.
never felt like that. And I guess I've spent a bunch of time trying to work out if that was, you know, like, I mean, in the worst moments of self doubt, you're like, does that reflect something on me that isn't like good at writing, like that I'm not doing this like secret creative project
I
that's
kind of
like
get,
thousands
yeah.
of words long. And then it's like, no, I don't get quite the same, or I'm not approaching it in that way. It's not about like something in me that's getting out there. I'm like, I want other people's stuff to be like seen and heard and shared and celebrated, right?
I think that's really cool though. That's awesome. Because it's like, it's almost like people who do documentaries, right? I imagine that's like the same kind of feeling where like, it's just like, there's something that is not necessarily, how do I put it? It's just something that you want to, something you want to share that you think is worth sharing.
Yeah.
Essentially, like in short, right? And I think that like, there are a lot of stories that like that people can't necessarily tell for themselves.
Yeah. Or like they're too close to it, or there's like a weird overview thing that you need, or even just that like when you're living it's such a kind of thing, like in the so a lot of what I get to do, because games, you know, the way that games journalism tends to approach things is like it hasn't really had to delve too hard into the sort of the more stressful, or I mean it does, because games is also a business that has real repercussions and has had some very dark times, and you have to figure out how to talk about that. But you know, a lot of what I have done is so sort of celebratory and everything, and I've, you know, really enjoyed that. And then but there are these things, you know, like when you're talking about documentaries, it's like a lot of people want to draw attention to something that isn't so great, or want to talk about something that is very complicated. And I also, yeah, like I really admire that. But it also, you know, the person who is at the center of that story, like expecting that they would be able to like tell all of their stuff is like such an extra ask, right? Like to be your own advocate is like so draining that like
that makes sense.
having someone else
It's
come
like
in,
almost
like,
two sides of the same coin in a way. That's interesting.
Sorry, I've gone like off
No, it's
off
like
track.
it's part of the question. You're good. Like it's because this is an opportunity for people to get to know you as well. And obviously, yeah, it's interesting to just like learn more about you and your thoughts. And you know, I'm having a good time, so, and hopefully the chat's having a good time too. Trash Goblin novel confirmed.
No.
Sorry, Pip.
I should have kept my mouth shut. You should have turned that balance right down. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't seem to hear Pip.
We've lost her. Where is she?
Exactly. I'll do that fake going through a tunnel thing.
Oh no,
I'm breaking up.
My office is currently going through.
Yeah, my house is just currently going through turbulence.
Yeah. That sounds dangerous.
It does, doesn't it? That's,
I don't know if homes are built for that.
I don't think so.
Anna, welcome in. How are you? That moment you go on a 10-minute ramble about Trash Goblin to your GP. Now that's love right there. Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. And speaking of the devil from earlier, we have a young red well. What's happening?
There we go.
Am I new? I wonder what happens if I say nope. Huh, maybe you're one of those mystical shopkeepers who I can only see when I need them.
I'm glad you laughed at that. I was like...
Because my brain was like, I'm like a goblin genie. Like, that's so interesting. Because now I'm like, wait, Redwall, where have you heard this before? What's going on there? Is there like mystical... What? Because now I'm like, maybe at some point in the game, one will pop up. Like, I see I have a rival.
In every universe, right? That must just be a commonality across the legends.
The Nexus being the Nexus Phantom Shopkeeper.
What's your version, do you think? I feel like on a night out, there is always a kebab shop when I need one.
Oh, that's actually a good question.
Yeah.
What's like my
like
thing for that?
Shop, you know, but it might just be because, you know, maybe they're following me. Maybe they're like, I've got one surefire sale.
I I think mine is probably a Chinese restaurant.
Oh, good job.
It's already known that I've also I love the casual mention of the wolves, by the way. Like that's like interesting stuff that maybe we'll be getting to later. It's like a nice tease
Mm.
and like indication that like of the wider world within Trash Goblin. So
Yeah.
this kind of stuff's really cool.
Yeah, because certainly at this point you're so like you're seeing the world from your boat bolt hole. Wow, that was
Mm.
hard to say. And so you want to have people coming to your window to almost like drop off little bits of gossip or information as well as
Yeah.
the stuff that they either want or need or all of that stuff. So yeah.
And I'm seeing the changes. Sorry, this guy, I can't because I'm thinking of Thomas the Tank Engine instantly, like my
The fact,
childhood.
yeah.
Yes,
What is his name?
instantly.
Sir Topham Hatt.
Yeah, because they changed it um
Oh,
a while
yeah,
ago, right? Yeah. So I
I
was trying
think
to
so.
remember what his new name was, but so
Yeah,
Top and
yeah.
Hat. There you go. Yeah,
Deeply
wild. Yeah,
for
I
all
saw
you
him. I was like,
internet.
Tuba begins playing. I'll put the bits that need joining on your bench. I think this is kind of cool. So
Hmm.
they're like Redwell's kind of kind. That's cute. We're being gifted something to do the job.
Yeah. So
Like it's kind
she's
of
like,
nice. Like everyone's like welcoming you in a
yeah.
sense.
She's like, I really like her as a character. Like in terms of, I think she's somebody that I'd want to be around or want to be friends with, and like I think that the rest of this universe also sort of gets that from her. So I'm trying to
Right.
like she's just sort of joined the wolves and she's a bit uncertain as to whether they like
Oh.
her or not, and it's
Hmm.
very sort of like, oh no, I broke a thing, like I don't want to get fired, like all of this
Right.
stuff. And like, everyone knows that one person who is like, oh my god, am I gonna get fired? And everyone's like, you are
It's like you're
beloved,
fine.
it's
Don't
not
worry.
gonna happen.
We love you
Yeah,
too much for that.
exactly.
Yeah. That's interesting. And I kind of like that that maybe there's like a sense of care there on someone else who may also be new.
Mm,
Is what it feels like being gifted this. So yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of I don't know. That's nice. That's a cute one. And I like these little
Yeah.
raindrops. Was that there last time? Like the little drops? It may have been, but my brain's just processing it now. Like
Yeah,
the
I don't know.
the
It's
drops.
one of those things where like once you see it, you're like, have I seen this before?
Yeah.
And then you just go around in circles and you're like, I don't know how to process information anymore.
Right.
How does memory?
All right, workbench time. Let's go.
Mhm,
We got our nice little upcycler.
mhm. But yeah, also
Okay.
yeah, Redbud dropped that in the mud because like her thing is that she's
Oh,
so good at what she does in terms of she's enthusiastic, she's got a portable forge, she'll bodge everything together quite happily,
right.
and then you give her a delicate task and it's like,
Oh
oh,
no. My one weakness.
some things have happened and I might need to get a help from an adult.
Right. That might just be me. Um, I,
I mean,
that's one thing though that I quite like about this is like in a sense you've been able to make all the characters feel like relatable in some way or another, whether that's
oh,
someone saying like, "Ah, that's kind of like me," or like, "Oh, I know someone like this." So yeah,
yeah,
that's very
that's
cool.
good.
Oh,
It's always this, yeah, that stuff is always stuff that I wouldn't know without like, yeah, interacting with people who are then playing it who haven't been working on it, right? It's like, so with
right.
previous games, I love watching Twitch streams and stuff of people playing, and like, it's always a bit heart in mouth, but it's
Mm,
so lovely to see when a thing lands, especially a joke, because you're essentially telling jokes asynchronously. You're sort of writing all of this stuff like 6
yeah.
months ago and like trying to make it so that mechanically it all
It's
flows
like
and so that
coherent, yeah.
it works and everything. And like, I think my greatest joy professionally is seeing someone giggle at
I
a
kind of get that.
joke and you're like, part of it is, oh, thank goodness. And part of it is just like, just it's so cool seeing other people be happy because of something that you did or put
Right.
out in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet. I like that. I like that. We're going to upcycle this and give it to our customer once it's all nice and clean.
Yeah.
Although, am I needing to clean both parts, actually? I
You
imagine so.
should be, yeah, because otherwise, I mean, what's she
Yeah,
do with a grubby handle? They'll know that she had to
that's
take it
true.
off site and repair it. It's like that wasn't
Yeah.
grubby before.
Gotta give her what she asked for, right? Not gonna skimp out on our
Yeah.
time in the day.
Also, I think technically, yeah, the one of the tooltips is that you have to upcycle clean items
Right.
because, yeah, I mean, I guess in the fiction it would be that, like, well, you don't want all of the connecty bits like grimed up, right? Otherwise,
Yeah,
your
I
glue
wouldn't,
won't hold.
yeah. Touche.
Don't want to just araldite some grit,
Put some extra, put some Gorilla Glue on it or something.
Yeah,
Who
some
knows,
no
that
more
might help out.
nails.
Ambrose, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. How are you doing? You put so many hairpins in there? What are you talking about in the pot? I guess you could.
Yeah. Little storage device.
Yeah. Now let us cycle up.
So yeah, that looks
Looks
pretty
good to
boss.
me.
Heck yeah.
Oh my god. You know what's really interesting? It randomly, like, my brain just saw the Pokemon Cuffant, which is a little elephant Pokemon, and it is
Okay.
these colors, actually. Because my brain was like, trunk. And then I saw the colors, and
Yeah.
random.
It's amazing how your brain can just suddenly bring up that kind of reference, right?
Yeah. Like, why did it do that?
Like, so I am not a Pokemon head. I play obsessively Pokemon Snap and new Pokemon Snap.
I
So
respect that.
I think you'll find that I was actually in the top 250 new Pokemon Snap players worldwide at one point.
250.
I think I will need to double check that, but it was definitely in that sort of region, and I'm like, this is my esport.
I'm gonna check where I was. I know it wasn't anywhere near that high, but if it's embarrassing, I will not be telling you. If it's in the top 10,000, I'll talk about it. Probably not.
Amazing. Yeah. I am nowhere near that now. Like, I was like, I rested on my laurels and the entire world overtook me again. I'm like, no, young people and their thumbs.
And their thumbs.
Their thumbs. Like, they've got those, those APM,
That's
like, have you seen
that's
StarCraft
true.
minutes?
You're
Like,
right.
my goodness. I do not have I just don't
The
have the fast
dexterity?
fingers. Yeah. It's
You
it's
can't see me
upsetting.
right now, but I'm trying. I'm imagining. Okay.
Gosh, yeah. I used to so yeah, in games journalism, one of my specialisms was esports, and so you'd just sort of be at an event like covering it and you just see these people who were just, it was like they were playing a completely different game to you. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, if I play this thing, I'm like, right, and then I'll go over here, and then I'll go over there, and then I'll do this, and then, oh, my teammate is being absolutely like ripped apart. I should probably have been there 3 minutes ago. And then you'll sort of see them, and they're just like, you're like, I think you might be a magician.
It's like, how did you do this? That was me
Exactly.
trying, like, the first time I tried League of Legends. I
Oh
still
yeah.
haven't played a lot, but I was like, there's a lot going on. Where are you guys? Oh, you're here now? Okay, that's fine. Cool. Like, I understand.
I've been to Worlds a few times and like interviewed pro players and stuff, and it's like, yeah, just we're playing a different game.
Yeah, literally.
Absolutely nothing in common
I
whatsoever.
feel that. It sure is something.
Sometimes you're a bit like, I wonder if they would be up for teaching me, and then you're like, I think they've got better things to do with their time, and also at this point, like, you're a multimillionaire, and like,
There's that to it. That's true.
nothing in this for you.
One thing I've heard that's interesting is a lot of people like that have a hard time like teaching like how they do
Mm,
things because it's either like second. Oh, I need to clean a grandma's egg. Oh no, it's either like second nature, or
yeah, yeah,
or like they just can't explain it. Like the way they think
yeah,
about it isn't in the same way that like someone else would, which is like super
yeah.
interesting.
Well, also, it's just so hard to break it down because
Yeah,
your sort of awareness is of so many things, and so much of it becomes, yeah, that second nature or that intuition.
right.
And so, sort of being able to pause or explain in the moment what you're doing when you're already 3 moves ahead and you're taking into account like 8 different things. It's like,
It's a lot.
yeah, it exactly. So.
I have a very curious question. Hopefully, I realize we're
Okay.
running very low on time now, but hopefully I
Oh,
can see if we can get like one more character in.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We spoke a little bit about Redouar. We spoke a little bit about Eamon. Is there?
Mhm.
But while I'm doing this, is there a character for you that you're most excited that you can talk about? Of course.
Yeah.
If you can't, that's totally fine. But if there is, what is like a character you're super excited about everyone seeing?
Oh, good question. Do you know what? I'm just gonna have a little look
No
in one
worries.
of our channels to see who has been added to this thing. Because like I say, it is so sort of hot off the presses that
Hmm.
I'm like, who even is in this one? So yeah. Feel free to chat in the meantime.
Right.
Sorry.
Oh, are you a Dead by Daylight genius there, Anna? Is that what's going on? Interesting. Fampy? Oh no, it wasn't Fampy. It was there's a Pokemon called Cuffant that is like the exact same colors as that pot. And it just yeah. It just threw me, guys.
Okay. So the one that I am so excited for people to meet is Mush Romeo.
Mush Romeo is an
Mush
incredible name, first of all.
Romeo. It's one of those characters where the name
Yeah.
was like so evocative, and the character was like, I think it was very blank slate apart from that, in terms of, nobody had sort of written anything for them before I'd got my grubby little hands all over that. And then it was just like, okay, what if this mushroom is the greatest seducer of all time? Like,
The
just
greatest
this,
seducer is interesting, and now
oh,
I need to see Mush Romeo.
like, and I think that was just, it was entirely just because they were standing on the customer desk and they just looked quite sort of cheeky. And I was like,
Like
you
Puss
got
in Boots
game.
energy.
It's like, you've got game, you've got Riz. Like, I
Yeah.
like that. Like, just, yeah, I feel like a lot of scrapes, a lot of, potential sort of fun scenarios that they could be getting into. So, but yeah.
Can I
Oh, yeah.
romance Mush Romeo or well, well,
Oh, wow. So, Mush
everyone
Romeo,
seduced by the fun guy? Stop. Stop it.
I mean, it's like you've got access to my pun post-its.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so Mush Romeo does have a taste for the finer things in life, and
Oh,
so they are sort of quite focused on the upper echelons, let's say. There's Mush Romeo loves a title. Just as a like a little challenge, I think, or as like a little, they're gonna have a luxurious boudoir.
right.
Um,
Okay.
anyway,
Interesting.
but yeah. that is definitely the one where I
Mush
have to
Romeo
sort
for a
of,
reason, I suppose. It makes sense. I understand.
yeah, I have to nudge colleagues every now and again and say, which side of the line is this one on?
Yeah. I see there's a, oh, the candle. Oh, the candle. You know what?
Mm.
That makes so much sense. I realized my brain wasn't constantly flicking the candle on and off. It's because it's not there anymore. It's now a
Mhm.
customization option. We got way more customization options in general. That would make
Mhm.
sense for the desk
Mhm.
being smaller as well, because we got a nice little basic side table over here.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what
And
they
look at all
used to call
those
me
shelves,
somewhere.
Kieran.
Yeah, I was about to say there's way more
Right?
going on here. Even like when I noticed the
So
shelves
much
here,
storage.
I was like, I'm pretty sure there weren't the shelves weren't there before. I'm sure. I'm sure it was just like the posters, this, the old shop bell, maybe
Yeah.
the garlic reef, just in case our goblin's not a fan of Twilight. You know.
I
Um.
mean, that's something that when you were playing on a previous stream, like I think you highlighted the garlic and I'm like, I'd like to do something with that. I'd like to like write that into something or have
Yeah.
there be a reason for that. And I'm still sort of like toying
Figuring it
with what
out.
that
That's
would mean.
exciting.
Yeah,
I'm looking
yeah.
forward to it. All right. What? Yeah. I suppose we can. Pip, what should we buy? We'll buy something. See if, because yeah, we're a lot over time, but that's okay. We'll see if we can. I don't know. Maybe Mush Romeo will pop up like right now today, and we can at
Yeah,
least see him and discuss him. But
I don't know what the order is, but
what we
yeah,
got?
like
Oh, too much. We're too broke for that. Dang.
can't afford a basic table, Kieran.
Okay.
What do you
We
think this is,
tried.
Versailles?
Goblin IKEA.
Oh, that would be
I
great.
Do you know what? Like playing through this as well. I'm
Mhm.
curious. Everyone in chat. Fee, welcome in. By the way, I didn't properly welcome you in. I hope you're doing well. I'm super curious. How does everyone play this when they do the puzzles? Because I'm sure like some people like individually like look at each block and think this, or like I wonder if people like spam like is there like a strat everyone has? Like is there like a different kind of Trash Goblin player, you know? Like that's one thing that I'm excited about seeing when
Mm.
we get more streams going.
Yeah, what's your way? Because, like, you're obviously playing this to help sort of explain the game to people. So, is this how you think you would play naturally, or is this like you in sort of showman mode, being like,
I would actually just be a spammer like I'm spamming now, I think I'm just
right?
spamming, yeah. But then it could be because I'm like used to certain things.
Mm, yeah, I think for
You're a
me,
spammer too? Okay. And there's a lot of
I
spammers, okay.
I feel like I'm in the minority because I'm one of those people that's like, how can I do this in the shortest number of moves? It's Donovan.
Oh, that makes sense actually. Yeah, that's a really cool way to put it. But yes, we do
Yeah.
have our guy, Donovan. Look at him, coin in hand, ready to give us something.
I love Donovan so much because of like his happy face. His happy face is like the thing that
The
reliably
tongue.
makes me feel joy.
A new trinket store. Hooray! How can I
Yeah,
help?
you'll notice that Donovan speaks a bit
I
differently
was gonna
now.
say because I was
Yeah,
expecting because he used to do like the lizard hiss thing, right?
yeah,
Like while speaking, yeah,
yeah. It's so I know that there was some feedback on that being a little hard to pass with like the reading of it. So I've
yeah,
sort of experimented with bringing in a little bit more of a third person thing just to sort of try and
right.
have
Okay,
a little bit more of that. I so the character or the so a reference point here is, and you are too young for this. It's the Swampling from
me.
Simon the Sorcerer. Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
that is.
No. See, there we go. This is one of the like we diverge on so little, but it's like there will be a few things from like, yeah, probably in the mists of time. So there's the Swampling is like this character who just sort of is it's kind of like this tragicomic thing, and
Mhm.
like Simon the Sorcerer has quite a sort of a sharp sense of humor, so not
Right.
crazy at all. And so in that game, the Swampling is very sort of like, I just want to be your best friend. And Simon's like, I hate you. So and like, so
Okay.
this was more sort of, what if the Swampling had a good time?
Right, I see. I was gonna say, I was like, he's not giving grumpy. So I see
No,
it.
no, no.
Yeah,
This
I
is
see.
very sort of like, yeah.
What I like though is I'm like, oh, is this someone who's the same race as Donovan back there? Like that's so interesting. We see a lot of towers going on. But also,
Mm.
I was also thinking, I'm like, Donovan, you're in my head. I didn't even read the answer. I was like, I'm sure we have a bathroom like you could use, but there it is.
Right?
No, not for that. Donovan will fill the pan with embers and warm his. Oh, that's interesting. That's actually really cool though, because like it
Mhm.
makes sense. I'm guessing like he runs cold. Yeah, he's cold blooded. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's so cool. Like giving
I
them
was
more
thinking
reasons.
I was thinking that the lizards would probably like congregate or like try like enjoy living in the more industrialized parts of town, like because where it's warm, where the
Smog,
furnaces
more
are
heat,
going
and
to turn off,
yeah,
like up on the roofs, like around chimney stacks
I'd
and
love
things
New
like that,
York.
right? And so yeah,
Gotcha.
so yeah, I was thinking that like yeah, Donovan is just like loves the warmth. He's a sun baby.
That's awesome. Okay, good to know. That's cool. All right,
Mm.
need to send him to Jamaica or something. Awesome.
Right?
Donovan is very safe. He will also loudly promise not to use live embers if it means the goblin will locate the bed. All right, well, that's good to know. I feel like we might have one already. Didn't we clean? Yeah, there you go.
Nice, nice, nice.
Interesting. It's cool though because it's like one, it's interesting to see like more lore and explanations around the character, but two, it's like unique ways of using the trinket rather than it just being like it's a bedpan, you know? Because
Yeah.
I know that with the hairpin, Donovan was clearly going to use it for something interesting. Because I don't need a
Mm.
hairpin. He doesn't need. Well, maybe in my beard. He doesn't. He definitely doesn't need a hairpin for hair reasons.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I really liked that he asked for a hairpin at first. I was like, do I change that? Do I
yeah,
not? But yeah.
yeah. It's still interesting though. So that's cool. I'm liking it. That's awesome. I feel
Yeah.
like we should probably wrap up because I've taken a lot of your time. Uh, Thank you so
It's
much,
been a
Pip.
joy, an absolute joy.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm glad you had fun because I had a lot of fun as well. I really like doing these. It's so cool actually getting to like chat with you guys about like what you've been thinking throughout the process and stuff. And then everyone in chat gets to know you as well. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you,
Maybe
chat.
we should do another one sometime. That would be lovely.
Yay. Yeah, let's see if we can figure it out. Do you know what? It would be interesting if we could do a massive Discord play party on release day. But who knows? Who knows? I'm just putting it out there.
The universe, a little bit of manifesting, never hurt anyone.
Yeah, exactly. We could figure out, I'm sure. But thank you very
Yeah.
much, Pip. Again, I'll let you go. Guys, go and check out Pip on socials if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure I did have your Twitter pulled up.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it again. Because silly me.
I can do it the old-fashioned way, like when I was on podcasts.
The old-fashioned way?
Fashion way. It's you can follow me on Twitter at Philippa War. That's PhilippaWar.
First of all, when are you getting into voice acting as well as writing? When is that happening?
Yes. Oh, do you know what? I actually did the voiceover for a trailer that came out yesterday.
Oh, what?
Right? For Wilmot Works It Out. I feel like this is like so rude talking about
No, but
another
that's
game
interesting though.
dream.
Like that's so cool.
But
New
yeah,
new Pip lore.
I've done both of their trailers, and so yeah, it's just like me hanging out with my little square bestie.
Square bestie.
100%.
There we go. Go and follow Pip, guys. I don't know why it was taking forever for Twitter to do anything. It was just like Maybe, well, you know, Twitter's Twitter these days, so
I mean,
shouldn't be
yeah,
surprised.
and that's my handle on pretty much every social media. So feel
There
free
you
to
go.
Instagram or Blue Sky or whatever. Obviously, I'm not cool enough to be on like the young people things, but you know those.
I
Those I
don't know
want.
what the young people things are, so I'm just going to assume I'm the same way. And and yeah, thank you so much, Pip. We'll catch you later. Have a good one and enjoy
Have a
the
good
rest
one.
of your night.
Bye.
Bye. Awesome. All right. We love Pip, gang. Thank you so much, you guys. Very much appreciated. I will catch you next week. We have another very special guest I'm looking forward to chatting with. That get all your questions ready, you guys, because again, no, JP, no. He's got his lunchly ready. Oh no. But yeah, if you guys haven't, make sure to, what did I put the, I think I did do this as the command. I did. It was wishlist. There you go. Make sure to go wishlist Trash Goblin if you haven't already. Go check out the demo. Let us know what you think. We do have a Discord server you guys can hang out in and give us your thoughts and feedback. So yeah, would appreciate it very much. Thank you for hanging, guys. I'll catch you later. Bye.